In last week's episode, I gave you all the details about my creative membership group. I've had so many questions, and since I'll be opening it up in September, I wanted to answer any questions and explain what the membership group offers. If you want to know if it's going to be a good fit for you, go give that episode a listen. Now, in this week's episode, I'll be interviewing Teresa from Our Greene Acres, and you may know Teresa from her YouTube channel where she creates weekly DIY tutorials. Her channel has been so successful and she just hit 100K and got her plaque. Now, I cannot wait to get to chat about all her successes, and I absolutely love her style, and I know you guys will too. So let's dive into this interview.
Welcome to the Rescued and Upcycled podcast with weekly inspiration, tips on trying new techniques, and overall, real talk about owning your own DIY business. Now, here's your host, Sonnet Ullenbrook.
Welcome back to Rescued and Upcycled. I'm your host, Sonnet Ullenbrook. I want to thank you all for joining me on my podcast. This is episode 25, guys, and I cannot believe it's been 25 episodes already. I can honestly say it's been so much fun interviewing and talking all things business. But if you, my viewers, have any suggestions on different topics that you'd love to hear about, or a creative or small business owner that you want me to interview, let me know. My goal is to continue to inspire you along with all of my guests that I have on my podcast. Now, in today's episode, I'm interviewing Teresa from Our Greene Acres, and I first discovered Teresa when I was scrolling through YouTube and looking for a bit of inspiration like most of you guys do as well. I immediately stopped the scroll when I saw one of her amazing thumbnails that caught my eye, and I decided to give it a watch. And from there, you guys, I have been absolutely hooked. So let's go ahead and give Teresa a big welcome. Let me bring her on. Hello, Teresa. Thank you. For my viewers and listeners that haven't had the opportunity to have found you, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, a little bit about myself, y'all. Of course, if y'all have watched my channel, you'll know I'm married and my husband's name is Ben. I'm a mom. I have a 26-year-old daughter. And something maybe interesting about me that you may not know is my daughter is actually adopted from Russia. We went to Russia and got her when she was 15 and a half months old. But you would never know it because she's got a Southern accent, just like me. But that's just a little interesting fact that you may not know about me. But she is just, such a blessing. And she just had our first little granddaughter, and she's 6 months old. Her name is Hazley. So, so that has been, so she was born in January 23rd. So the past 6 months is totally changed our life because every little bit of time we get, we love to spend it as a family and get to spend it with, our little granddaughter. So, just a little bit about me and, just on a personal note and, very family oriented and
I love it. I remember that post because you said you were just anticipating when she was going to be born, and my birthday is January 8th, the same as Elvis. And I remember saying like, she might be born on our famous birthday,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Birthday. That's neat.
Yeah.
I get to celebrate Elvis every year. Yeah. She was a little January baby.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Yeah, and so I know that it's you talked about you and your husband, and we kind of chatted beforehand, and you had said that he helps with your YouTube channel. Does he still help now that he's gone back to the corporate world?
He helps me when he can, and sometimes like technical issues, he's a lot better with dealing with those type things because I'm more of the creative mind and he's more of the technical mind. So just, if I have like technical issues, and I have questions or he needs to help me with something like that, he still does help me when he can.
Yeah.
And, but when he was here full time helping me, he would help me do a lot of painting, or if I just needed piece of wood cut, I just say, hey, can you go cut this piece of wood? So it was so nice that he could. Now I've just kind of taken it back to how we started the channel. I started out, well, me and that the way the channel, I know that's going to be one of the topics that's going to come up that we're going to talk about today. But the way the YouTube channel started was Ben and I, we sold our home that we had in the city, and we decided to buy some land. We bought 6 acres and we downsized our home. So we bought a small home with 6 acres, and we bought a tractor, and we were just kind of enjoying living more of like a little farm life.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I always had this thought that, well, we ditched cable TV a few years ago. So when we did that, I needed something to watch in my spare time. And Ben would say, watch YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And I never was really familiar with YouTube. And so anyway, he got me started watching YouTube videos, and I would just go out and just watch different topics and different things. And I got so intrigued with it that I thought, oh, I would love to have a YouTube channel. And so anyway, that's kind of how the YouTube channel got started. He and I just kind of created it as a hobby, and we just kind of shared experiences of our new lifestyle out here, our little farm life. We like to garden, and we both love to be outside. We're both outdoors type people. So we just kind of shared things like gardening tips, and Ben loves to can.
Okay.
He learned how to can from his grandparents, and he loves it. So we did some canning videos, and so that's kind of how our channel got started. And
Wow.
so he went to work one day, and I just decided I wanted to do like a craft video. So I really didn't even know what I was doing, but I just kind of created something one day, made a video out of it, and we put it up on the channel, and it just kind of took off. And 5 years later, he just, those type videos did well. So he said, well, you just take the channel and run with it. So he got off the channel, and he created his own YouTube channel that's more of an outdoors type channel. And then I just took this one and just kept doing DIY type projects.
Oh,
And that's kind of how the YouTube channel started. It
I
started
love
out
it.
as a hobby. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And I love how it transitioned. And well, then the Our Greene Acres really makes sense. Is that the name of the channel all along, Our Greene Acres?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's our name plus,
Yep.
like I say, just I guess highlighting our little farm life is kind of how we come up with the name.
Yeah. So when you first started your YouTube channel, and because like I think back to 3 years ago now it's going to be 4 years in April. I'll have like this coming April will be 4 official years. But think back to like I didn't know anything about editing, taping. I mean, did you have any background? No, you just went all in because
No,
I did a little
no.
research and then I just dove right in. So
Well, Ben got us a new computer. He got us like a little iMac Mini.
yeah.
And I started out when I was editing videos. We didn't even have, our house is so small, we don't have an office. And I do have a craft room upstairs that's 300 square foot. And that's where I kept a lot of my supplies and stuff. But he would put the computer up on the TV screen, and I would sit on the sofa and edit all my videos. When we first got started with the channel, I edited them from the sofa because we didn't have a desk or
Mhm.
anything. So I just used a little table and would set the little keyboard up there, and would just start editing in this little, I don't know, I can't remember what editing program we used when we first started out. But he taught me how to do some basics, and I just kind of got started and didn't even know how to do voiceovers at first. And everything kind of comes in stages.
It does.
So that's kind of how we got started. And then we got a better, we went to iMovie, a better video editor as I got better. And then you just research, learn things, teach each other. You watch other people or ask questions, and that's kind of how I learned. But no, I never knew how to do any kind of video editing.
I know. It's so funny, like, because I so many of like in my membership group, people my members are so scared to get started. And I'm like, you have to start somewhere. We didn't know back then what we know now. And it's like,
You know what my favorite part besides creating things is video editing. I can set and edit video. I love it. And I've gotten so fast at it now to where that's one of my favorite parts is editing video.
oh,
So I've got to where that's, once I get my footage done, I get it loaded and, I'm kind of going through. That's one of my favorite parts that I like to do actually. And when I first got started, it wasn't, but now it's just everything that you learn and the better you get at it. You just got to practice and do it often. And then you'll get better and better as you go. And we can all go back and look at some of our first videos, and we probably cringe. And I know.
I know. I did
I did that.
I did like a collaboration of like some of my. I'm like, I'll do some of my old ones, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, I don't know. I'm like, Sonnet, just pull yourself together and just grab some of those old ones.
You
even
continually improve,
yes.
and we still do, and we always will. So yeah.
I know it's amazing. Like I learn so much stuff. I'm still learning about my editing software because there's so many little intricate details about it. So
and there's probably so many things that mine will do that I've never tried that would probably make my life a lot easier, but I still probably do them the hard way. But yeah, I love video editing now. Yeah.
Okay, did you guys all hear that? She loves to edit videos.
Yeah. Well, I got to thinking I could be a video editor maybe, but yeah, I say that there's probably a lot more that goes into it when you do it professionally.
I'm sure. Well, very cool. I know. And so how exciting. You started 5 years ago and it took 5 years for your channel, but you finally did it. You got the plaque, 100K.
I got the plaque.
How did it feel? I mean, when you finally, I think I would have screamed a little bit, like when I hit that. So
I screamed, I cried. I mean, I just couldn't believe it and it's like I tell everybody, I'm 61 years old, so don't ever give up on your dream. And there were so many times I wanted to give up. I thought it's not going to happen. You just keep on, be consistent, don't give up, just be true to yourself. Do what you enjoy doing and you've got a passion for. Just keep that drive going. And one day you wake up and it happened. And it's got its low times, it's got its fast times. It's like a roller coaster ride. And having your own channel, you've got good days, bad days, and you always want to, as a YouTube creator, you're constantly trying to come up with interesting content and content that your viewers will enjoy and things that you enjoy doing. And that's, I guess, one of the things, if I needed to give somebody advice, I'd just say, just do what you love and stay true to yourself, because that's kind of what I've done, and stay consistent. Yes. I think consistency is probably the number one thing. Put something out that, try to be on schedule and have it out, because a lot of times your viewers, your number one supporters, they're going to watch for you. They're going to know when you come on, and you want to make sure you're there at that time. Put something out and, just be consistent with it. And, when I started out, maybe I think we did 2 videos a week. When I first started, I can't remember, there were weekdays, and I would put out 2 videos a week, but I did less content. I maybe did 3 projects. And then as my channel evolved, you go through stages, and as it grew and evolved, then I just did 1 video a week, but I put more project and content into it and made them a little bit longer. Yeah. So, your channel will change and grow as you do, and it's just an evolving type process.
Yes, I agree. Yes, your channel will pivot with you. So, because, and I know that sometimes even viewers they like certain things, but you as a creator are evolving and changing and growing. And that's what happens with the channel then too. So, Yeah. Oh,
Exactly.
absolutely. So, I know I love it when you put out a video of like 50 DIYs or whatever, you're working on. So I think that's awesome. So it takes you all week then, one full week to tape one of your videos?
Sometimes, and you're a creator, you may work on one project. It may take you weeks because you may paint it and then you may not like it and you may
Right.
push it to the side because sometimes your thought process, you can't, I don't know. Creators are different. Some people will see something and have a vision for it right then.
Mhm.
Sometimes when I buy something, say at the thrift store, I may not have an exact vision for it, but I know it will make a good creative project, but I may
Yep.
not know what I want to do with it or what I want to stick on or what color, blah, blah, blah. Just so I'll bring it home and it may sit on the shelf for months. And then all of a sudden I may get a new product in. And I think that is the perfect piece to put that product on and try it out. So sometimes I may work on something, get it painted, may not like it, I may push it to the side and then bring it out one day, weeks later, and finish it up and think that was it. It turned out.
Right.
So, but usually, yes, I try to stay a week ahead on my video content just so I don't have to rush myself and I don't feel like I'm under pressure. Some
Mhm.
people work better under pressure. They'll spend one day, do a video, and they're successful. I'm not that kind of person. I like to give myself enough time. So usually about a week, I'll spend on, because too, you've got to come up with some days I wake up and I'm not creative. I I have zero for a video. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do this
Right.
week, and I
Oh,
just
I
think,
know.
but it always comes together.
Yeah.
We'll figure out something and we always do. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's
I'm going to say about a week to create
okay.
things and edit it and get it made into a video.
Very cool. I know some weeks too, I like go out into like I call it my inventory of items
Yeah.
and I stand there and I look and I look and I'm like brainstorming and I'm like, what is going to inspire me today? And then if that doesn't inspire me, then I go to all my different products and I'm like, what do I want to use? Like what could, and I just start brainstorming and then I'll see one item and I'm like, and it all of a sudden it just gets the creativity flowing.
You
So,
get a theme, you can get a theme going.
yep.
And sometimes, the seasons help too. Because
Yes.
in fall, of course, we like to work on pumpkins and just fall type stuff. Summer is probably my toughest season because we don't really decorate a lot. Summer doesn't really have as much of a theme. So summer is probably more. I like to go more thrift store shopping and get things stored up for because Christmas is real creative as far as making stuff,
Yeah.
ornaments, all kinds of stuff. So summer is probably the hardest season to come up with things, but fall, oh my goodness, yeah, fall is fun as far
Yeah.
as creating stuff. Yeah,
I know. Well, you live in was it Alabama?
Northern Alabama.
Northern Alabama. Okay, I'm like, I thought it was Alabama. Yeah, so you guys get a lot of hot weather, I'm assuming, like really, really hot? Yes.
Yeah.
So has it like in Wisconsin, so we have all 4 seasons, like real 4 seasons. So do you feel like you have the 4 seasons too, where it gets crisp and like the leaves fall? Okay, good.
We probably have all the four seasons like you do, but you have the harsher winters.
Yes.
We don't have as harsh of winters here, but we do have the hot, humid summers
Okay.
where it gets real humid outside and it's just I don't know. You don't want to go outside because you just step outside, you're gonna sweat. But I think that's probably a lot of people in so many areas in the summertime when it gets that hot. But we don't get a lot of snow in the wintertime.
Okay.
We'll get cold weather, but it's nothing like what y'all get.
Right. Well, it's kind of funny because like summers are normally just a really nice warm breeze. And then we always get like a couple weeks of like that hot, humid weather, and
Yeah.
we're not used to it. So I feel like I'm like, I'm gonna melt, you know? So
Well, yeah, and it gets so hot here, you don't even go to the swimming pool. It's hot everywhere. So it's just kind of
okay.
like you just want to stay in the AC and just, just stay in. But it's getting better. Like this week, we had some really nice weather. It went in the 80s, and it's
Okay.
perfect. Got a
Okay.
breeze. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. Well, now, and it's kind of funny because like it all of a sudden, like Wisconsin is so weird too. We like all of a sudden there's like almost like a now we're getting some cool nights. We're back down in the 50s. And like the other day too, I walked outside and I'm like, oh, it feels like a fall breeze. Like that
Yeah,
day just really, I don't know. There was like a turning point where I was not ready for fall. And then that day I'm like, oh, and I heard here, like when the leaves drop, like the rustling of the leaves on the ground. I don't know, like all the fall feels. And then
it's
I'm like,
fall. Fall is reminding us it is right around the corner, and it's
yeah,
coming. Get your hoodies out because
yeah,
it will
yeah,
get here.
I
But
know.
here in Alabama, we've still got the rest of August left, and then September will still be nice. We can still get out, enjoy the pool, because probably September is probably one of our nicest, prettiest months of the summer because it's not as hot.
Yeah.
And then, and then of course, like you say, the leaves will start falling and everything will start getting cool. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
well, I'll have to pack up all the summer gear and get ready for fall. And yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I know. I am thinking about doing a fall video very soon. So I
I
think
did
that
one last week, but it was
you
a
did.
compilation. It was my compilation of just,
Okay.
of things, highlights from last year's projects. I've always start out my seasons with that. So I put it
Okay.
out last. I've done two.
Oh,
Week before last was my compilation, and Sunday video. I forgot. I do have some fall in it. I made some pumpkins. Already made some pumpkins.
oh,
So
girl.
I put out. Yeah, I put out two.
So you put out a weekly video now. Do you have the same day every week that you put it out?
So yeah, Sunday at noon is my
Sunday at noon.
day. Yeah.
Okay.
I have swapped my video upload days, probably like you have, just try different days and and times of the week. But I've uploaded on Saturdays, Fridays, through the week. Now I don't know. Sunday at noon is when I put up my
Okay.
video for the week.
Okay. So
Yeah.
if anybody's wanting to watch her Sundays at noon, her videos go live. I know for the last however many 3, like going on 4 years, I can honestly say, like, I do 2 videos a week and I miss very few weeks, but last Monday, so much stuff was going on, and so I put it out on Tuesday, and then yesterday I came back from Chicago late and I had stuff, and so it's coming out today again. So I know when you talked about going from having 2 videos a week down to 1, at this point, I don't know if I'm ready to do that. Maybe it will be something that I do because actually I put out 3 videos. So I put out 2 DIY or 2 regular videos on my YouTube, and then I have my podcast. So you will be featured in a couple weeks on my podcast. So I'm so excited for that. But yeah, so with your YouTube channel, has there been any like struggles or obstacles that you've had to, really overcome, with being around for 5 full years now?
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, for somebody like me that, some people got the creative and the technical, and that's great. I'm more, like I say, the creative minded. So technical things were probably my biggest challenge, and my time management. You can see it, and you kind of have to have some time management skills to stay on a schedule so you can be consistent and stay on schedule, with your video content. And two, another struggle is don't focus in on the negative, and and that's very hard to do as a person, because we all like positivity, and we like the positive comments, and probably 98% of my comments are positive, encouraging. My viewers are probably my biggest inspiration, and
Mhm.
you probably feel that too. If it wasn't for our viewers, of course, we wouldn't do this. But they are the ones that support us, encourage us. They come back every week and they watch and enjoy what we do. But just very rarely, but sometimes you'll get some negative. But you cannot. You just gotta. And
Keep
that's
on
something
rolling.
you acquire over time too. You have to realize that is just going to be true in all aspects of life. But
Right.
just don't focus in on the negative. Just stay, because there's a lot more positive than there is negative. So,
Mhm.
but other than that, I think as YouTube creators, we enjoy and love what we do. We have a passion for creating, inspiring others, and we get inspired by each other. And it's just a fun community, and I've really enjoyed it, and I made so many friends and along the way, and
I know.
and it just makes it all worthwhile. It
Yeah.
does. I love
I
it.
know. I keep meeting, like as like even doing the podcast, I'm like meeting more and more different creators and I love featuring them on my channel. So, but yeah, it's so great to collaborate versus like feeling that we are, almost, like competitors. So, because there's so much space to share and so much love to go around. So,
There truly is. There really is.
yeah, I
We
love
all
that.
support. We all have to support each other. That's what
I
it's all
agree.
about. So
Yes, absolutely. So, where do you get a lot of your inspiration? You talked about watching, videos on YouTube and where do you find when you need inspiration? Is there, someone you watch or do you, what inspires you?
I do. I'm actually inspired by all the other YouTube creators.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can because everybody has their own spin on something, and if you give each of us a certain the same probably project piece, we will all probably paint it a different color. We all will have a vision for it that will be totally different, and I love seeing that. So I have the majority of my time is I watch YouTube instead of TV. I'll put it on some YouTube, and I love a lot of different channels too. I love to watch a lot of the cooking channels. I love to watch decorating channels, and I love to watch people go thrift store shopping. So I love to just watch all kinds of different types of content. And yeah, yeah, and like I say, I watched you when you come on board. Started watching you, and my husband would even come in because you got your Wisconsin accent. He could walk through the door from work or something and hear, and he'd go, "That's Sonnet." He'd be like, "Yeah, there's Sonnet," because I started watching everything, so he knew you right off the bat.
Oh,
So, but and I can just sit and watch you all day long because some of us are better at painting. I'm not a painter, but watch somebody that is good at painting. That I just it's just to watch everybody of how they create and how they just put their spin of creativity on something, and it just amazes me.
mhm.
Like I say, it's just this is fascinating. But I truly enjoy watching so many people, and
Yeah.
so many have inspired me. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. And I feel the same way. Like there are days though too, like how you talked about watching different channels. Like some days I'm like, I am on my creative, I just need to like get a different outlet. And so I have been watching, this sounds really funny, but I've been watching like van life where people live out of their vans and they
I
tape it.
You say that. I watched a girl the other day, never watched one of those. And she come up in my feed of a video I might like, and I clicked on her. She had turned her van into her house. And I
Yeah,
sat there and watched that, and I'm like, that is the most fascinating thing I've ever seen.
I know.
She lifted up, opened up the back doors of her van, and there was her bedroom,
Yes,
her bed.
yes.
It
Yeah. I know, I'm like,
was awesome.
if I was,
Yeah.
like, in my early 20s, I might actually have a YouTube channel like this. I'm, like, obviously too
All
old for
right,
that
y'all.
now, but
Sonnet is going over to the van life.
yeah.
But that is. But I actually have some local friends. They're a family of three. They've got a small girl, but they just bought a van, and they are. That's what they're not going to do it full time, I don't think, but they are making over a van, and I think they're going to travel around in it some. And there'll be, like I say, it'll be a husband, wife, and a little daughter. And because they are very adventuresome and love to go and travel and go to all these, places and on trails and hikes, and so they have just got a van and are making it over, and I'm anxious to see how it looks, and
Oh,
just to take a little space and
yes.
make it into a little home.
Right.
You got to get real creative to be able to maximize and use every little space to your advantage. And right before me and you got on this podcast, I was watching a video of some people, and I didn't know you could do this. They just bought a cabin on a cruise ship, and they are going
Oh,
to live on a cruise ship. Have you ever seen that concept?
no.
Me either. And I'm like, wow.
That is a
Yeah.
wow. I don't know. Because I'm
How
like,
do
I
you
don't
live?
even know if I want to go on a cruise yet alone, yet live on
Um,
a cruise ship.
okay. Okay. Well, so that is just another thing that I didn't even know was out there, but that's just so interesting to me. And they showed us the cabin where they will be living, and they just moved in. So I may have to watch some more of their videos just to see how that kind of pans out. But yeah,
Really?
just yeah.
I know there's so many different, YouTube niches out there. And sometimes when my creative cup is just too full and I need an outlet, I just go and I start watching some others. So,
Yeah.
um, but you did mention thrifting, and I kind of want to dive into, have you always been a thrifter?
I've always been thrifty, but
Thrifty.
I did not always thrift. But I I started out enjoying yard sales. But I have always been a DIY type person.
Okay.
I've always um didn't like going to the real retail store and paying a high retail price for something. I was always one of those that would go into the retail store, see something I like, and think, I think I can go home and I got something I can make that or make something similar and save myself a lot of money. And I've always done that because I've had different homes throughout my life, and in each home, I would be on a budget, like all of us. We don't have an endless amount of money. We don't have a money tree outside, so you have to kind of be on a budget when you're, styling and staging your home. So
Mhm.
I've always tried to find budget friendly ways to decorate my home, and just try to make it fun too. But I first got started going to yards. I never really went to yard sales, but when I quit my corporate job, Ben, my husband, he said, "Well, you ought to try going to some yard sales." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know." But anyway, one of my friends was having one. I decided to go to hers, and she was my first yard sale. And I bought like a carload of stuff, and she had some amazing stuff and had $1 on a bunch of it. And I thought, oh man. So that I was hooked from then on. And I would be on Thursday nights, I would be mapping out yard sales in my area on Friday, Saturday. And I would have a map and a list of them. And I'd just start hitting all these yard sales. It was so much fun. And
Oh,
then just, recently, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I started getting into the thrift stores. Um, we didn't have a lot of thrift stores in our area, but now we've got a really good Goodwill. We've got a little Salvation Army down the road that's good. So I do go to those, and going to the thrift store, you can go every day and you'll see something different because
right.
they're always putting out new stuff. And I still go to yard sales when I can find them, but yeah, I guess Goodwill is probably my favorite in our area,
Mhm.
because that, like I say, that's about the only big good thrift store we have. We got some antique shops, but the prices just aren't as good because
Right.
but and I
Yeah.
like consignment stores.
Oh, yes. I know. I think sometimes those are overlooked because there's a couple in my area too that are really good and they get some really good stuff. And sometimes you can find some really good prices at consignment stores
Well,
too.
I actually consign things like my clothes. I like to get clothes at yard sales, thrift stores, or and just wear different. I'd rather pay less for something and have more outfits. So I've got to where I take a lot of my stuff as I buy new things. I try to declutter, and I've had good success selling things at the consignment store, and then that way I'm kind of recycling. I'm taking things that I declutter out of my home or my clothes, sell and make some money on it, and then I can turn around and spend that money and buy more stuff,
Right.
buy more stuff. But I do like consignment stores too.
Yeah. I know. I definitely think those are overlooked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Um, and so your favorite spot is Goodwill. Do you have a Goodwill bins in the area or have you been to the bins? Okay. Oh,
I did find out from another YouTuber that lives probably about an hour from me. I watched her video one day and she had went to some Goodwill bins. That's probably about 30-45 minutes from me. And I didn't know they were there. So, eventually I may make it over there. I don't know a lot about them
yeah.
or about it, but I do think there's one close to me now. So I might have to venture out and try it. I'm kind
Awesome.
of nervous. I don't know why, but was you nervous the first time to go in
Uh-huh.
a Goodwill bin? Yeah,
I
me
was. I
too.
walked in because there's rules. Well, ours, there's rules. And I didn't know all the rules. So, like, I broke some and I got yelled at. And I didn't mean to break because I am a
Tanya's a
rule
rule
follower.
breaker. A rule breaker.
Yeah, I know. All of a sudden, the lady's like, "Lady, get behind the line." And I'm like, "There's a line?" And then this other really, like, I made very quickly did I make friends with some of the regulars. And they're like, "Yeah, you have to stand behind this line." And then I realized there were lines all around. And there,
Because
you just
you have to wait because they change out bins and
yes, you
stuff.
have to wait, and, so, like, as they were bringing them out, like, the new people you always know people who've never been there before because those people will, like, go up and start digging or picking before you're really allowed to because you have to stay behind the line, and then they go, and then or shop, and then you go and you can then hit the bins up there,
Start
so,
digging. But you've
yeah.
got some amazing things.
I know. I honestly like and it's hit or miss. Like sometimes the bins are not very good and then other times you get some really good stuff. And so I like
But
to go
see,
I
I'm a digger.
yeah.
I love to hunt and dig for stuff. So I think I would enjoy it once I got there. I'd
Yes.
probably enjoy it more if I had somebody to go with me to just kind of know. But yeah, that I don't know. If I ever build up my courage enough, I may make a trip over and go. But yeah, I do think we've gotten one.
Yeah. Oh, you should definitely do it. They are fun. But yes, like the other day they changed they are always changing things up. So like like sometimes it's an hour between new bins, sometimes it's a little quicker. And the one day I was there was a little bit quicker. And I'm like, "Oh, I can't go yet because they're bringing out new bins." And then I'd go over and I would dig. And then next thing you know, I'd been there for a little bit and I was feeling completely exhausted because it's a lot of work, like digging and like figuring out what you want. And but I
Yeah,
always love
be
it.
exhausted and take a lunch, take a brown bag with
Yeah.
lunch. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
can eat snacks and
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. I know.
Have you ever been to a dig store?
No.
Dig store, dig. We had a dig store in our area, and I would go there, and I liked it. It was just mainly like Amazon
Oh,
returns and maybe
yeah.
Target returns. And I guess this store they buy it like like they probably just go and buy bulk items at a low price, and then they would put them in this little warehouse building. And then certain days, everything in the store would be $6, but
Oh,
you would literally have to go and dig in these big bins, but you never knew what was going to be in there.
yeah.
You can just find all kinds of stuff. And I did go there and do that a few times, and it was fun. But it recently went out of business. But you can get some good deals there. And then on the last day, like they would do $6 Friday and maybe Saturday and then Sunday, and then maybe Monday they would put what's left $1. So
Oh,
everything would be $1. So that would be kind of fun. You might find a couple of things like some towels, or you just didn't know. But
yeah.
it was I like doing it.
Awesome. I know, and we talked earlier about I think we talked about it offline, but how or maybe you said it that you don't find sometimes you don't have inspiration for the item initially, but it's going to be a good piece to eventually thrift. And I always am like, I have to figure out, am I going to do something with this, or am I just feeling sorry for this piece and bringing it home with me? So I know digging is I don't have the like at the dig store, but like at the bins, I'm always like, okay, am I gonna do something with it, or am I just feeling sorry for this piece? So I'm just like,
But you have an advantage because you still got, don't you still, you got two booths, right?
I have 3 booths, yes.
Well, I was gonna say three, but I couldn't remember. So the old goat,
Yep, the
you,
Yield Goat, Antique Up, and then Water Street Vintage. So I have the
and do
3
you still
booths.
do the Cranberry Fest and those?
So I am this year I'm not doing Cranberry Fest. I'm doing my own event. So I'm
What?
yes, I'm
I'm
host
behind.
Oh, no,
Okay.
that's okay. Yeah, so last year, it was a backbreaker for Cranberry Fest. It was the first year that we normally can pull up to our spot and, like, unload, and because it had rained for, like, several days, they felt the grounds were too saturated, and they would not allow anybody to drive on the grounds. So, we had to bring, like, a dolly and
Mhm.
dolly everything in, and it took us hours upon hours just to get our items from the vehicle. I mean, it was so far, and that alone, it was honestly, it, like, almost popped my bubble of, like, enjoying it, and I'm like and my parents, we shared a booth, so my parents
Yeah,
would do
you and your
half.
mom. Yeah.
Yes, and my dad would help my mom, but me, I was a solo, so I was hauling it all myself, and by the end, like, I'm like, "Okay, now I have it all here. Now we have to pop our tents up, and we now have to set up our booth," and it was so much that I was like, I'm
I
not
don't
even
see how you even survived that. And you always, up until then, you make like hundreds of those
I
barnyard
know.
quilt. How in the world? I watch you sometimes on your videos, and I'm just thinking you are Wonder Woman. I watched you. It was probably last year. You
Yeah.
just got the assembly line out making those
Yep.
quilts. Love those.
Thank you, yeah.
Yes, those are beautiful. But you amaze me because that was a lot of work.
Yes, it was, and that's why I'm like, the very end of the very last day, we were wrapping our booth up, and I walked up to my parents because I said to my husband, "I don't wanna do this again." There's just no way that I could do that again of, like and my husband couldn't help me. He felt so bad, but he's like, "I wish he was fishing in this huge fishing tournament up there as
Mhm.
well. So we're together up there at our cabin, but he's fishing a tournament and I'm doing that, and normally I am very self-sufficient and I could set up and do all the things, but it was just backbreaking. And I went to my parents and I said, I don't know how to tell you guys, but I don't want to do this next year. And my mom and dad are both like, oh, thank God you
Yeah,
said it
they
because
were
we were
probably the same way. Like, oh, thank goodness we're off the hook.
yeah,
Isn't that something? They felt the
yeah,
same thing. Well,
yes.
what's your event? Okay, I want to interview you now.
Oh,
What's your event you're gonna do? Because this sounds exciting.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it is called the Vintage Soul Market and Retreat, and it's going to be a two-part event. So my friend Wendy owns Antique Acres. So in the spring I do my spring show at her location where she lives. She had Amish come and build this massively amazing barn. And so I actually actually will have all my own vendors in the barn. I'm a vendor in there. My parents are a vendor, and a bunch of my really good friends who love to pick. We're all going to pop up shop in there. And then there's another area on her property, and I am hosting my own retreat. And so there's a lineup of creatives that will be coming, and it's going to be a 3-day event. So the very first day, I am hosting a barn quilt workshop where you get to paint a barn quilt. And then it's kind of like the VIP day. And then the next 2 days, it's going to be back-to-back workshops. They're roughly an hour each long. Royce is coming from Roycycled Paper. So it's going to be all different creatives, and we're all just going to be hosting different workshops. And so it'll be a lot of fun.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great event.
Yeah. So, it's kind of funny because after Cranberry Fest, I always do a recap video. And so on my recap video, I had said that I was thinking about doing something at my home, but very small. Like I wasn't going to do anything like super big. And I was going to try to like coordinate it maybe with like, we have what's called the vintage shop hop in the area. And my friend Wendy watched my video, and she reached out to me and said, why don't you do it here? You can have, just pop up the whole event, in the barn. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what, it took me a minute. She like sold it to me a little bit. And then I'm like, okay, let me think about it. And I thought about it, and I'm like, yes, I think it would be perfect. And I wanted to add a creative aspect to it as well. So, in the barn where all the vendors will be, I'm going to pop up like a station where like when the creatives aren't teaching in the retreat portion, they can come out and work on a project piece. So it will be just like an ongoing, like if anybody is at the vendor event, they can meet all the different creatives that are there. So yeah, I'm excited. It's October, the first weekend in October. So it's like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So
Oh, that sounds awesome.
yeah, that's funny that you're interviewing me.
We're just going to shift this over now. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I know. And
awesome.
in next week's podcast, I'm going to really do a deep dive into the whole creative event, because the creative retreat and the vendor event, because I've been getting a lot of questions. So I'm definitely going to do a deep dive into that video, or with that video.
That's awesome.
So we talked about your YouTube journey. We talked about thrifting. Real quick before we wrap this up, like, where do you see your channel going? Are you going to keep on, and or do you see your channel changing anywhere in the future?
Well, to me, to stay creative and do things that, like I say, I like to try to stay true to myself. And I love decorating. So I think for fall, I'm going to do some DIY projects like I usually do. But I would like to get more into because I love to stage.
Yeah.
Put things together in vignettes and put certain items together. And that's what I truly love to do. But for fall and for Christmas, I want to try to do more decorating type videos. So I may try some of those. And I also, I'm working on a video right now of some furniture pieces that I picked up and I've painted. Ooh. And I don't do a lot of furniture or, doing anything like that. So I will have a video coming out that's going to be mainly furniture makeovers of how you can get pieces very inexpensive and save thousands of dollars and upcycle. So I'm kind of trying to work on some new type content besides just doing thrifted DIY type projects. Just to see how the content does, see if my viewers like that kind of content as much as I do. But like I say, just doing what I have a passion for, what I love to do, and just actually things that I have on hand. I'm trying to, take advantage of the things that I already have in my inventory. When you find things at a good price, or you find it in the trash and it's free, we're going to pick it up and bring it home. And you don't want it just to sit there. We got to give it the new life. So I've got some pieces that are like that. Okay. So I may be working on some of that content.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it. And I think that every small business and YouTube channel definitely needs to pivot and change as you continue to grow. So I'm excited to see, especially the vignettes and the staging. So
Yeah,
awesome.
I do love that. And another little thing that I've taken on that's new that you and I talked about offline was whatnot. So I've been doing some thrifting and resourcing and getting items for it because I've had one live sale and whatnot, and I'm going to have another one coming up. So that is some kind of it's like a new platform to me that I've
Yes.
been kind of venturing on, and it's fun. So that's kind of a new adventure that I've been focusing some of my time on too. So, just trying out new things. And I know a lot of YouTube creators are on Whatnot right now and they're having good success of because, a lot of times, a lot of people don't have good thrift stores in their area.
Right.
They can't find the things. And if they do, the prices are not as good. So I feel like when we find things out, of course, we can't keep everything. Why not try to get what we can and offer it to other people still at a good price? Because a lot of these things that we find, people, they're highly sought after.
Right.
We all love that vintage, antique type, things with character. And when we find them, I love to be able to share them or give somebody else an opportunity to put them in their home. So that's another little adventure that I've been trying out too. So
I love
but
it. Me too.
it's fun.
So
It's
I'm gonna
fun.
have to watch you over on Whatnot. Do you have a date scheduled for your next one yet, or you do what?
I do have it scheduled. It's August the 31st, which will be
Okay.
a Saturday. I think 11 o'clock Central Standard Time will be my next live sale. So,
Okay. I'm gonna
yeah.
have to mark it on my calendar and take a watch. So,
And
well,
I'm going to
good.
have to come and watch one of yours too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're on Whatnot. Where else can my viewers find you if they want to be inspired? Whatnot, YouTube. Are you on any other platforms?
I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook page, Our Greene Acres, and I also have a page that's set up that if my viewers want to go out and post things that they make and
Okay.
just share ideas, and it's called Our Greene Acres home decor, and DIY inspiration. So I've got two Facebook. I'm on Pinterest, TikTok, Instagram, all of it Our Greene Acres. So,
Okay. So,
yeah.
well, good. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on my podcast today. I love that my viewers had the opportunity to meet you and really see how talented you truly are. And yeah, definitely go out and check out her on all the social media platforms. Like I said earlier, in next week's episode, I'm going to be talking all about the Vintage Soul Market and Creative Retreat. It is coming up pretty quick in that first week of October, and I want to share all the things about it with you guys. I know after hearing all those details, you guys are going to want to mark your calendars and either attend the Creative Retreat or go to the vendor event. So be watching for that in next week's episode. And if you guys don't already, follow me on, if you're listening to on any of the podcast platforms, go ahead, rate, review, and subscribe to my podcast. If you're watching me over on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notification so you'll be notified every time I do release a video. And you can find me as well on all the other platforms, such as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, you name it, at Sonnets Garden Blooms, where I always am posting out more content for you guys to watch. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye, y'all.